What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over talking about our best running backs in college football 25 Ultimate Team and ranking them on a tier list from S tier all the way down to F tier. Now, 96 overalls through 92 overalls is really what we're going to be focused on. But if you're running like a 91 overall Caleb Johnson, that's fine. He's still a fine running back to run. It's just as time goes on, when I make these tier lists, have to really lock in because there are just so many 91 overalls that it's, nearly impossible for me to, to crack it down much more than this. So, or to expand it much more than this, I should say. So we're going to be taking one from the top and then one from the bottom. So I'll probably have a lot of S tier and then F tiers right away. And then we'll fill out the middle. I'm going to start off with Bryson Washington. Now, he's a interesting card, interesting running back. I do think he deserves to be in S tier. However, I do want to talk about him for a little bit because he is a power back. I feel like his movement's not great. I have Bryson Washington right now. He is my running back. But like him compared to Reggie Bush, and I've said this a lot, his movement's just not quite as good. And that's fine. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's fine that his movement just isn't quite, as good. But that's just the truth for Bryson Washington. A card I do like, a card that I think is one of your better or best running backs in the game. But movement-wise, just know there are going to be just slightly better cards that I do talk about. Up next, we do see Ashton Jeanty at the bottom. Now, he is, a complete running back. I compare him a lot to Caleb Johnson, whereas, like, he, just a complete running back. Jeanty catches the ball better than K2. Caleb Johnson's going to run the ball better. But when you're talking about the best of the best, it's tough for me to be any higher than D tier for Ashton Jeanty. LaDainian Tomlinson up next. I'm going to go S tier as well. Another card that I have used, I did do a gameplay of LT if you want to see what the card gets into. Card I don't mind. It's just, again, it's kind of tough for me when I am ranking some of the best running backs in the game. Where does LT rank? I think he's got to go S tier. I still don't think he's quite as good as a guy like, Reggie Bush, but I do think the card's really solid. Darren McFadden up next. I think I like him more than Jeanty. I think this is what I got to do. And I don't like putting Ashton Jeanty at F tier, but I think that's what I got to do because I like Darren McFadden better. I think Darren McFadden side by side just moves better than the card. And so, it is a tough situation because I do think Darren McFadden is just slightly better than Ashton Jeanty. I actually like both cards. I think both cards are really solid. But side by side, I just think Darren McFadden does slightly more on the field. Now, that's not me saying, like, you can't use, Jeanty. I think he's okay. I just think Darren McFadden's better. LaMichael James up next. I think I've got to go S tier with LaMichael James. A card that a lot of people, even in my comments, have said, Ty, I've used Reggie Bush. I've used LaMichael James. I like LaMichael James more. I've used LaMichael James in such a limited sample, so it's really tough. I did have him on my squad. But I just think, as far as an elusive back, yes, his movement's good. As far as, what he gives you on the field, he gives you a lot. I just think personally when it comes down to what I see out of LaMichael James is I don't think his catching rating is super high. I'd have to double check, but I will do that for the sake of you guys on this video. But I don't think he catches the ball super well. You guys can see it, a 66 catching. That hurts for the way I want to play. Obviously his trucking's not great. But if you're just looking for a pure elusive back, yeah, the card gives you a ton on the field. S tier is where he belongs. Toafili up next. I do think you can use a rivals token on him. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong, but I think he is F tier. If you use that, or even if you use that, upgrade token on him, probably becomes a little bit better. But if you're comparing the 92 overall Toafili to Darren McFadden, I just like Darren McFadden slightly more. Dickerson up next. I think A tier is the right spot. Now I'm gonna be honest. I want to talk about this card because people have told me, Ty, he moves funky. I've never actually used Dickerson. I've never had him on my squad. People tell me, hey, Ty, he moves funky. Man, when I play against him, let me tell you, I get absolutely cooked. So I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, he moves, horrible because I've been cooked by the card. However, I get what people are saying. I get why people are saying it. I'm still putting him at A tier. Lynch Adams up next. Another card I don't hate, but he's just simply put outdated at this stage of the game. I don't hate him. I don't think the card's bad. I just simply think the card is slightly outdated for the time and the era we are in. Jeremiah Love, I'm going to go A tier with Jeremiah Love. Another card that, when you're looking at the top running backs in the game, I actually like this card's stats. The problem with Jeremiah Love really is one thing, it's that speed. The 93 speed. And so, honestly, I might have to put him at B tier. Like I said, I don't mind the rest of the card. Can catch the ball decently, good spin, good juke. But that 93 speed definitely hurts in B tier. Other than that, he is a complete back. Kane Roberts up next. He's a free card that is a good receiving back. Like, if you're looking for a card just to specifically catch the football, he's got a 92 catching and he is a good route runner. But outside of that, he doesn't give you a whole ton. I'm going F tier with the card. Ezekiel Elliott up next. One of the most rare cards in the game. And it's honestly weird that EA has done what they've done, with just kind of those players. Like, they're so rare. They never really talked about them a whole ton. 94 speed, good trucking. It's just not great catching. I don't know. I'm going to put him at B tier. I think Eric Dickerson's better. Simply put, I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but when I'm looking at things, I do think side by side, the card is just simply put the better option. Spears up next. I'm going to go D tier. I actually like Spears quite a bit, whether it's the 92, whether it is the 94. I think he is a really solid card in this game. Brashad Smith. Heard some really good things about him, and honestly, stat-wise, I love what this card does. And so, he does fit the spread chem. I run the spread chem. Great spin, great juke, good catching. No, his trucking's not good. But to me, this is just the way I think of it. I just think he's a slightly worse LaMichael James. I think he still is better than Dickerson. I'm putting him at S tier. Damian Martinez, probably the worst card on this list. I genuinely, I can't stand what Damian Martinez does because the card just absolutely stinks. If you like Damian Martinez, I don't know why, and I honestly don't know how. I think the card is a garbage man on this game. Next up, we do see Travion Henderson. Again, another card that I think it just is tough to get to on this game. Now, for Travion Henderson, 93 speed, 93 carrying, good truck, good juke, good spin, good catching. But that 93 speed, you can't go any higher than B tier. I'm going to throw Zeke up to A tier. I think he's better than Henderson and Love. 92 Dickerson, I'm going to throw D tier. Yes, he might move sluggish, move funky, but I still think the card does enough to put him at that D tier. Reggie Bush. S tier, I still think he is the best running back in the game. And look, I've used a lot of different running backs, and I do think Reggie Bush is the best. And you guys can argue against it, but I think his ability is just movement-wise is superior to any other card that I've used this year. So that's where I'm at with Reggie Bush. I do think he belongs in that S tier. Dylan Sampson up next. I'll do two lower tier cards after this. I think Dylan Sampson's A tier. Look, the card is free, and for a free running back, his movement is actually really solid. I don't have many problems with Dylan Sampson whatsoever. The only thing I would say is this he's better. Is he better than those guys at S tier? I just don't think so. I think this is gonna be tough though, because I think he could be S tier. I think you could argue S tier because his movement is solid. He does a lot of things. I'm going to be honest, this is tough for me and Dylan Sampson right now. It's tough. I'm struggling ranking this card. I'm going to go S tier, but the lower end of it. Toby Gerhart at this stage, movement-wise, sluggish. I'm going to throw him at D tier. I just don't love him. Devin Neal is B tier. Devin Neal is an absolute stud. For budget running backs, his movement is absolutely ridiculously good on this game. Obviously, if you don't like Devin Neal, I don't know what to tell you. Because like I said, I think he's just as good as Travion Henderson or Jeremiah Love on this game. A lot of people would disagree with me, but that's truly how high I am on the card. I think the card is an absolute beast on this game. Next up, we do see Blake Corum. For a free running back, look, Corum's fine. Like, honestly, I want you guys to be I want to be honest with you. For a free running back, he's fine. It's kind of weird that they gave us Sampson and Corum for free. He's just a complete running back. He is an elusive back. His movement's probably okay. I think B tier is the right tier. I don't hate on the card a whole ton whatsoever. I just don't think I can go higher than B tier for him. Next up, we do see a CJ2K. He's B tier as well. Chris Johnson's movement is fantastic. It's tough for me to say anything really bad about the card. I think he is a beast of a card in this game, B tier. LaQuint Allen, I don't really see it with him. Now, I do want to say this. LaQuint Allen is super cheap. He's got 94 speed, decent change direction, catching-wise. Look, he's going to be at B tier, but the caveat is this. He is a strictly receiving back. That's really the caveat for him. If you're not going to use him as a receiving back, he's not that good on this game. Like, you have to use him as a receiving back, and if you don't, there are better options for you guys. So I just want to put that, caveat out there that if you're using him in not the right way, yeah, he's not going to be that good on this game. Next up, Quinn Conley, or Cooley I think is actually who it is. Quinn Cooley. I said Conley. Mike Conley's the GOAT, by the way. Quinn Cooley, low speed. Carrying's not, carrying's okay. Power back. This card stinks. Honestly, I'm going F tier with Cooley. The card's not good. Ollie Gordon. I've actually seen, and I've actually seen a lot of people use Ollie Gordon and have success with it. Now, it's weird because he only has 92 speed, 92 acceleration, but his carrying's good, his spin move, juke move's good, his trucking's good, his catching is okay. I think he's got to go B tier, but I will say this, I don't necessarily know if I would love Ollie Gordon. Now, I do think he is deserving of B tier just because of the success I've seen some people have with him. I just don't know how much I personally do love Ollie Gordon. 93 Dickerson, he's going to be our first C tier card. Really solid card on the field. Spears up next. Some people have success with Spears, so he's tough to rank. Because when I look at Spears, he's a weird back. He is a receiving back. 93 speed, decent carrying, decent trucking. I think I've got to go C tier, though. I think that's where he belongs. Jonah Coleman stinks, F tier. Do not like the card at all. Algier is a stud. Tyler Algier is a stud on this game. I don't know who needs to hear it, but I'm telling you right now, this card can play at an insanely high level. Decent speed acceleration, good juke, good trucking, decent catching. He's B tier, but again, I like Algier a ton on this game. Alvin Kamara, I've used the card, didn't have that much success with him, but stat-wise, he is an absolute stud. So, I mean, you can't be low on a card who stat-wise is as good as he is. For me, is deserving of that B tier. Wisner up next. Receiving back, I do got to go B tier. I don't love him, though. I used him. He moves sluggish. I don't love him. Matt Forte, another card I've used. I don't love him. B tier. And Cam Scatabo, last but certainly not least, B tier as well. And I know B tier is full. And if I were to move a couple cards up, maybe it's like Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Love. But I just don't think they do enough to be at that A tier. And, maybe I could move some cards from S tier down. But I think that it's unbalanced. But I think that this tier list is one that I'm comfortable with. I think it's one that I actually do like. So let me know down below in the comments who you guys like most at that running back position. It's just tough because I think S tier, it's just so rangy. Obviously, Reggie Bush is in a tier of his own, so maybe that's what I could have done. But I do overall like where this tier list is at. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Who is I too high on? Who is I too low on? And is there anybody I just completely blanked or missed out on? Let me know. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.